Ways to save bread in the kitchen. Bread of all kinds cannot be dispensed with in homes anywhere. It is by far the most important component of our diet. However, sometimes bread may be exposed to mold due to poor storage. Due to chemical changes that affect the starch particles inside the bread, or the loss of moisture and heat in the bread. Here are the most prominent reasons why bread is exposed to mold, and the most prominent ways to preserve it in our kitchens. The best way to preserve all kinds of biscuits and cookies. Keeping in the freezer. To begin with, we must keep the dry bread when it comes out of the oven, either at the temperature of the oven itself or in the freezer. The same applies to bread, which is made with olive oil, as it can be preserved in airtight bags and placed in the freezer. And when it is needed to be used, we take out the bread and leave it until it thaws from its freezing and removes the snow from it and heat it either through the oven or the microwave. It is advisable not to return the excess bread after heating to the freezer again. Warnings for the housewife to pay attention to. When bringing fresh bread that is still hot, we must first let it cool down a bit before we wrap it, so that it is safe from mold. The packaging bags in which the bread is kept must be emptied of air before being closed. It is also important that the bread is not exposed to direct sunlight, and that it is not exposed to moisture, as when it is not stored, the bread remains intact for only 2 days. There are many ways to preserve bread in our kitchens. Some of them are effective and good, and others are less effective, and here are the most prominent of these methods. Preservation in the refrigerator. It is not possible to keep bread in the refrigerator for a long time, especially since keeping it in the refrigerator, although it preserves it from rotting, will not remain intact for long enough. Keeping bread in the freezer. This is the best way to preserve bread from rotting for long periods, after placing it in airtight packaging bags.